Why in the world did President Trump just say this? What? I thought this was America, as of course the Republicans are acting a lot like the Democrats or their accomplices. We just got new breaking news from sources within the Trump administration that now they're backing down from deportation of illegals, only going after criminals. As right now, a lot of people are saying that they are in full retreat in Minnesota. As Alex Jones says, no, that's not exactly what's going on here. All of this is happening as Bill and Hillary Clinton are literally cheerleading on for more protests. As, of course, they have a horrible track record themselves with all the really bad things they did. As Donald Trump has a perfect opportunity to arrest them now. And yet they're not doing that. What the hell's going on here? As, of course, there's a lot of rhetoric, especially against 2A here, that I think is important to talk about here, as what Donald Trump is saying right now truly is not good. And again, we're going to tell you what's really going on here. If you appreciate these type of conversations, subscribe. This new channel is doing great, and we're very happy to have you guys a part of it. As of course, the 2A community is in shock as Donald Trump came out and says you can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. A reporter's like, what about the Second Amendment? Trump's like, yeah, you can't walk in with guns. What? As a lot of Americans do conceal carry. A lot of Americans do use their right to be able to defend themselves, especially in red states, far more than a lot of people even want to admit that they do. As a lot of people are saying, this administration really needs to handle their communication about, one of, I would say, the most important rights in the Constitution. Stephen Gutowski says, so much for the Trump administration walking back their media campaign against gun carry. As, of course, we saw over the last weekend, a lot of really bad statements released by Kristi Noem, the head of ICE, the head of the FBI, talking about how bad it was that this person had a weapon. And, of course, there's more that we're finding out about him today, as Mosh Teray says he was impeding them. And he says, does impeding carry the death penalty without trial or jury now? And people are saying he was armed. Being armed, not pointing or carrying or taking out the firearm doesn't mean you should be taken out. And he makes a good point here. This is why so many people have lost the plot. He's a part of training Americans to be safe and responsible when it comes to self-defense. I do the same in Miami. If there's any kind of personality here that wants to take a class, just let me know. But he does very similar classes to what I do. And there's a lot to learn. If you are ever going to carry, you need to be personally responsible for yourself. And you learn that you are responsible for everything that happens because of the tool that you have on you. And everything that comes out of it, you yourself are the person that is responsible for all of it. Regardless if it was an accident or not, or a misunderstanding or not, you still carry the fullest amount of burden on you for deciding to use that very specific tool that sadly a lot of people aren't trained properly to use. Lots of law enforcement isn't properly trained to use either, by the way. That's a big type of most, not all, most. Some officers actually take it upon themselves to actually learn, take classes. I see some of them. I commend some of them. But when they get in there, they suck. They're not good. But they get better with practice and dedication. But not a lot of people have that practice and dedication. The few that do, I have tremendous amounts of respect for all of those officers. And I know some of them, and I have a lot of respect for them. And I think they're amazing, incredible people, because learning this stuff means that you're not a danger to yourself, your colleagues, other police officers, and also, most importantly, the people around you, that you are there to protect and serve. Even the court systems have ruled that they don't have to protect and serve them. Robert Barnes, who I think has been right on the money on a lot of this, says, newsflash, thinking someone is armed after you watched him be disarmed is not grounds to shoot them in the back 3 times. And I made the very similar point saying, look, just because you hear something go off behind you doesn't mean you get to take out the first thing in front of you. And that's sadly kind of what happened here. As Drew Hernandez says, maybe some high-capacity tactical truth social posts will stop the insurrection. As a lot of people are saying, what's really going on here? Trump is definitely shaking things up within his department. As Trump is moving around some personnel, he's reassessing the administration's response. It looks like there was a deal made with Tim Walz that, of course, is going to only go after criminal illegals, not illegals, which a lot of people on the left are seeing as a major victory. A federal judge just ordered ICE to head to court over bond hearings. As right now, there are a lot of claims being made by DHS that just don't add up, don't make sense here. And again, Trump's comments here, I mean, he just came out and says that Peretti had a very dangerous weapon, a weapon that is, quote, unpredictable, and that is true. It goes off when people don't know it, and that is true. Now, Tara Palmari came out and said this.
Now you've got the NRA even coming out against the White House because Kash Patel says he shouldn't be having a concealed carry, even though he has a permit for it.
Right.
And you know, I personally don't understand the need for concealed carry, but my dad carries a concealed carry gun with him everywhere.
Women usually don't. Women are usually kind of aloof. Usually, not always, but they're like walking around. Very not aware of the kind of situations and the monsters that are out there in our society that you have to be on guard for. Now, James O'Keefe had some very interesting things happen to him, as it looks like this is definitely more of a planned, orchestrated, organized type of force that Donald Trump is going up against, and that he's capitulating and giving ease to. As, of course, Alex Jones disagrees with that. We'll get into that debate in a little bit. Before we do, we just wanted to tell you about wearechange.shop. Our number one selling supplement is our creatine. It is the best in the game. It is from Germany. It is 99.99% pure. People usually don't want to tell you where it's from. We tell you exactly where it's from. It's a little bit more of a premium cost, but it's worth it because we get the best quality. I just saw this video on Instagram, and it says, what happens to your muscles when you take creatine? And they look into the microscope and... It's a raccoon dancing. It's a funny video, not a scientific one. But again, creatine, really good for the mind. Lots of women don't have as high creatine levels as males do. Lots of women also dealing with dehydration, not being able to keep water within themselves. Muscles are a key indicator of longevity. You have a lot of muscles, especially a lot of leg muscles. You live longer, happier, healthier, more fulfilled lives. Of course, the worst thing that could ever happen to you is you could be in just constant pain and constant suffering, constant inflammation. Why live life like that when you should be living life amazingly? And that starts with you looking into your own personal health. wearechange.shop. That's one way of doing it. Creatine is the way to really just jumpstart your mental and physical health. Look into it. Do your own homework and research. wearechange.shop. Check it out. Do your own homework and research here. Now, James O'Keefe recently went to Minneapolis, and he talked about how he was tracked immediately, highlighting, especially after what we found out through the Signal Gate, that this is highly orchestrated, highly organized type of endeavors that are being set up by leftist, liberal, democratic government officials.
And I am shocked and amazed at how organized they are. I've never seen anything like this. Every vehicle downtown, they're able to track, run the plates, confirm who they are, get their ID, like they did in my case. They ran my license plate. We're trying to figure out how they're able to do that, where they have someone on the inside of a rental car company, et cetera, and communicate with each other about it. And when I got out of my vehicle, this is like 11:30 in the morning, just after the shooting and before the autonomous zone. Within seconds, there were 5 of them standing outside of a relatively inconspicuous vehicle, interrogating me, asking to see my identification. So I got to give them credit, Megan. I've never seen anything in my life I don't think any of us have ever seen a group of people more organized. And I warn people because people are tempted to say, well, this is funded. And honestly, Megan, what I think and what I believe to be true is there isn't some one boogeyman funding all of this. It's a loose network of NGOs, some of which indirectly get funds from our government, but people actually really believe in their cause, and it's a cause that it appears.
This is an important thing to kind of realize here. Lots of these people, volunteers, lots of these people aren't even getting paid. They're just people that believe in the cause and are willing to put their bodies on the line for it. It is freezing cold in Minneapolis. And now imagine what's going to happen during the spring.
Appears to me that they're willing to live and die for, which is, I think, more terrifying than one guy funding them in a transactional way.
Yeah. And listen, how did they get this kind of fanatical? I think control of the communications, control of the algorithms within the last few years by big tech, social media that is influenced by Democratic administrations and the deep state and the intelligence agencies really does highlight this kind of larger, I would say, in my own personal opinion, engineer, divide, and conquer agenda that's kind of at play here. Now, people are talking about how Alex Preddy interfered with ICE agents earlier, a couple days before, broke his ribs. He was tackled before during a previous incident here. Now, with all this happening, again, does that mean he deserved it? No. But listen, there's something else happening here. Bill and Hillary Clinton, who, by the way, are being held in contempt of Congress, something that if a Republican did would be arrested immediately, and it was under the Biden administration. But we have the Clintons coming out, Bill Clinton specifically, releasing a statement on the quote, horrible scenes playing out in Minneapolis. When Trump literally has the ability to arrest him right now, they're still saying, go protest, guys. Get out there. Let's shape history to years to come. Let's go out there, protest more. And people are like the people in Waco. Hillary Clinton. In Minnesota, scores of ordinary people. Of course, they shut off the comments. Why? Because people look at their horrible track record. You look at deportation numbers, Bill Clinton had a bunch of them, right? I think there might be a situation where he had more than Trump. I don't know the exact numbers. I got to look into those, but it wouldn't surprise me. Bill and Hillary Clinton, when they were in power, they were saying, no, you got to get out. You're here illegally. Out now. They were talking about Donald Trump's talking points now when they were in power, right? The irony here is very clear. Hillary Clinton in Minnesota, scores of ordinary people are bravely looking out for their neighbors, defending their communities and protecting lawless violence. These are the best of America. Here's how to stand with them. And again, she's organizing. She's propelling this. What many people believe to be the kind of insurrection against Donald Trump. Donald Trump has the ability to arrest him, and he's not. As people are saying, hey, this you, Bill Clinton? Waco, Epstein. There's a lot of other stuff that happened under Bill Clinton's reign that is extremely questionable. As Donald Trump came out, and it looks like his administration, after making some very big blunders over the weekend, especially with their statements that weren't true or accurate at all, now President Trump came out and said this.
Do you believe that Alex Preddy's death was justified?
Well, you know, we're doing a big investigation. I want to see the investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself.
That's a lot better statement than Bovino coming out and saying, absolutely, he was trying to create massive amounts of human harm. There's no case for that. He was protesting and organized, a part of this leftist organized effort that Tim Walz is supporting, the mayor is supporting, that they're literally like taking away police officer resources away from them. And Trump looks like he's not backing down. Tim Walz is like celebrating, congratulating himself, congratulating the people of Minnesota. Now, obviously, we need a full investigation, an honest investigation. There's a reason he said honorable and honest. Because a lot of people don't see some of his administration members being honorable and honest when the events first unfolded. And we called it out as soon as we saw it. We saw the narratives being built here. Now there's bigger questions about Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security. Now, there's a lot of rumors and speculation that there was a big fight between Trump and her. Trump was allegedly grilling her, and that Trump was putting her on the chopping block. Trump clarified that is not the case here in this statement.
I am, yeah. I think she's doing a very good job. The border is totally secure. You know, you forget. We had a border that I inherited where millions of people were coming through. Now we have a border where no one is coming through. They come into our country only legally. So you have to remember those things. You know, people forget as soon as you accomplish something, it goes into history, and nobody ever wants to talk about it. We had a border that caused all of this problem. Biden caused, and the Democrats caused this problem. They allowed tens of millions of people to come in. Many of them were murderers. Many were drug dealers, drug addicts, people from mental institutions. They allowed these people to violate our country, to come into our country. And that's what we're talking about. So if you remember, we had a horrible border, the worst border we've ever had, ever in history. People were flowing.
As it looks like Trump is just trying to justify the new claims that are coming out that Nick Shorter's saying on Stephen Crowder, saying that Border Patrol agents in Minnesota say that they were given new orders not to arrest non-criminal illegal migrants, even when their license plates checks back and confirms illegal status. As a lot of people on the right are saying that's not what we voted for.
One of the stories that I've unfortunately been hearing this morning is that Border Patrol agents have now been given new orders not to, for example, if they were to run a license plate and it comes back as that person is an illegal that Border Patrol was forced to let into the country under Joe Biden, they are no longer allowed to arrest that person.
And is this
even
the first
though they know for a fact that's illegal?
Is this new information that you're just bringing to light right now, that these new orders? Okay. And I don't want you to reveal your sources, but you have someone who you trust on this. You believe this is a matter of actual approach and policy now.
This actually came from two separate Border Patrol agents on the ground in Minnesota. They're very, very frustrated. Obviously, they feel like one of them actually said that this feels like we just reverted to the Biden days.
Yeah. Now, Alex is saying this is not a retreat. They didn't retreat here. But again, you can't say that what's happening here isn't a big old mess, right? Trump's comments on the Second Amendment, his administration comments on the Second Amendment, not good, right? Him kind of backing down and appeasing here, not arresting the Clintons that are calling for more protests, rubbing it in their face that they're above the law, that they could call for more unrest and not be held accountable for it. Not a good look, right? You kind of got to ask yourself who's really in charge here. Now, this is what Alex had to say about this situation.
First off, Trump is not retreating. ICE is not retreating in Minnesota. They are moving to a military base, and they are recalibrating.
That's another PR way of saying, hey, they're stopping the actions that they were doing, right? Whether it's a retreat or recalibration, they're stopping the deportations.
And I've been saying for a week, this needs to happen. You cannot send small numbers of federal agents out into these rats' nests where they're being viciously attacked and shot at and everything else. And then when the leftist goons that are basically out there sacrificing themselves, the equivalent of suicide bombers, death by cop, it will be spun against the administration. So Trump is not in retreat. The administration has listened to me and listened to others. And the word I'm getting is they're removing the Border Patrol head, letting him retire, because he was too optimistic and thought they could handle this and do all this. But I still think they're blaming him, and that's wrong. Anybody can look at what's going on there and see you can't send 4 agents out to a neighborhood of people that are about to attack them to arrest some child molester. You've got to have the forces to be able to control the situation.
Mike Benz is making the point. What's the FBI doing? Like, why is this 40,000 of them that we're paying for with our tax dollars? What are they doing right now? As Kash Patel is trying to look like he's tough on crime. He's posting about individual cases here. But again, his comments on the Second Amendment, they're isolating everyone. Like, they really need to get their messaging on point. They need to make decisive actions. I think once they have a layup to arrest the Clintons, they should take it. And if they don't, the Clintons are just saying, yeah, more protests, please. More chaos, less people talking about the Epstein stuff. Again, it's like, what's really going on here?
And I understand they're working with what they've got. They've got a constitutional duty. That's why I've called them heroes, because they're David versus Goliath. I mean, just like you, I watch these clips all day, and I see people completely outnumbered, being screamed at, attacked, shot at, bottles bouncing off their heads, everything else. And then I just see a media totally doxing them, demonizing them. I see the Democrat Party with license plate reading systems jacked into the police departments, literally stalking them. I mean, this is a hellish job.
And then they get their fingers bit off. They get attacked here. Yeah, it's like a high pressure, intense type of situation that it looks like the federal government lost. Did they lose it? Or is this just a recalculation of what's going to happen next? What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for supporting us on wearechange.shop. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that. And this is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/LukeRadowski70.